Welcome to episode 79 of the Enterprise Excellence podcast. I'm Emily Jeavons, coming to you from Brisbane, Australia. This is the third bonus episode of 5, focused on how to sustain and achieve an enterprise excellence journey and transformation. Today's topic is defining your vision of excellence and Pdca-Ing your way there. These 5 short daily episodes are part of our Enterprise Excellence Academy and Community launch. Our Academy and community are dedicated to educating and helping organisations sustain and achieve an excellence journey to create a better future. Our first community meeting is on April the 28th, 2022. We mistakenly gave the wrong date in our first part of this mini-series, so just confirming that April 28th is our first virtual meeting. We have Dr. Morgan Jones as our world's expert, who will be presenting on how to measure, audit and sustain a change journey. He co-authored the book Why Bother with Chris Butterworth, and we are so pleased that he is joining us on that first meeting. We're running the community meetings on a Thursday morning, once a month, from 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. So that first hour of the meeting, we'll be chatting with our world's experts, asking them questions and hearing their expertise directly. We're so lucky to have this direct access to the experts in our field. The second hour of every community meeting will be focused on helping one another overcome challenges in our own journeys. Our purpose for the community is to learn directly from our world's experts each month and to help one another sustain energy and direction. We're also running a competition for our listeners and our clients during the month of March, where you can go into the draw to win a place on one of our Agile certified training courses. This could be in either our combined Product Owner and Scrum Master course or in the Agile Scrum at Scale course. We're so grateful to be able to offer this opportunity to one of you. We'll be drawing the winner at the end of March. To enter, just reach out to us. You can find us on our website, theenterpriseexcellenceacademy.com, and contact us. You could email Brad or I directly. Brad's email is bjeavons@iqi.com.au and I'm ejevons@iqi.com.au. Or you can find Brad on LinkedIn and shoot him a message there. Just reach out to us and we'll pop you in the draw to win that great prize. We'll draw the lucky winner at the end of March and we'll let everybody know who that is. Thanks again, everyone. We truly appreciate you. So, Brad, why is it important to define your own vision of excellence?
Yeah, the main reason is that there's an innate human trait, particularly in organisations, that what gets measured gets done. And also the power of having a vision that is compelling. And so I think those two things play out with the vision here. It's important that as an organisation you've defined that vision of excellence, but it's also important that you can physically measure it and that it's also meaningful. So there's some sort of storytelling and drive behind it that actually motivates people to want to head there.
So there's sort of 2 aspects you're thinking of when you're defining your vision. You want to create a clear vision in a compelling way that draws people into it. And then you want to have what systems in place to be able to measure your journey towards.
Yeah, and often people get purely, when I see it, a lot of organisations go, okay, our measures of performance increase is what's going to drive us. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. You definitely want that to be part of it. That links to Mike Rother's Toyota Carter, where you got to know your vision and have that meaningful goals and step your way there through an iterative approach, which is similar to the Agile approach. But I think with an excellence journey, when you've defined your way, you need to be able to go for those key elements we want to be truly great at. You've got to be able to describe what excellence looks like for those, and you also need to be able to measure it. So with a maturity index, that's typically how you measure it in that regards. You'll maybe have a rubric, a 1 to 5 rating scale on that.
Yeah.
Of course, 5 would be the vision of excellence for each criteria. You might have 5, you might have 14, you might have 24. I think the simpler the better of definitely. How many things you're trying to be great at to truly achieve excellence. And then you can either for measurement, have a descriptor of what it would look like at level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. Or like what I've seen Peter Hines do, and CSA Partners do based on that legacy, is I see that they just have, level 1 is we're not started yet.
Yes.
Level 2 is we're forming it
Yeah.
and planning it. Level 3 is we deployed it, but we're having to lead it hard. And level 4 is it's becoming part of culture, and level 5, it's just the way it is. Anyone could leave, but it'd still keep going.
Yeah, more generic terms.
Yeah, makes it really easy.
Really simple.
The other criteria I've seen put across that, and I learnt this from Peter Hines and Chris Butterworth, was across that 1 to 5 scale, you can also have the percentage of the company or employees in your team really living it. So
as a measurement.
Well, as a double measurement. Like one of the measurements is that, what I just mentioned, that not started. But at not started, you might say that, well, that means maybe 10% of the people are doing it, or no one's doing it.
Okay.
Forming, you could say that 20% of the team are actually starting to do it. At deployed, where it's starting to be deployed and led, you might go, there's up to 40% of people doing it.
Right.
And once you get up to autonomous, which is, it's becoming part of the culture, you might say that 70% of the people or teams in our organisation, whether you're taking that organisation-wide view or a team view, are doing it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, way of life, you'd be saying 90 to 95% of teams or our people are doing that system or that behaviour.
Yeah.
Because pretty well that's what it comes down to on your maturity index, things you're trying to be great at. That'd be a blend of systems you want to be great at. But for sure, there's going to be some behavioural statements in there. What would people be doing with them if we were truly great?
Yeah. Yeah, great.
And so that's the vision and the measurement of it. The vision gets captured in that maturity index, and I guess also there could be incorporated into the company's vision statement also. And then you have the maturity index or a rubric style system that can be used.
Yeah, your measurement.
And then of course you still have, but the goals you're chasing with them, those measurable goals of what it might be. Maybe it's, at a simple term, it may be greater profitability, a dramatically reduced environmental impact, a greater net promoter score internally with our employees or externally with customers. There will be those measurable goals. And
are they part of the rubric, or are they
separate?
They're separate.
Separate. They tie into, they tie into your strategy deployment system, strategic planning and deployment system into the future.
But they also tie into your vision.
Yeah. So it all bolts together. And I think the importance of vision has really become clear to me, especially on these journeys, but also that a vision actually describes what it looks like.
Yeah, it's visual.
A lot of visions are, we're going to be the biggest, we're going to be the greatest, we're going to be, but what does that look like? To be that, what is that? And so I think, number one, even for your top line company vision, I believe it's important that it actually describes what it would look like, feel like, get into that humanistic element, because the people can really link into that. I think for your maturity index of excellence, as you build that, you need to be descriptive with it. People need to be able to read it, and they need to be able to go, okay, I could see that. I know it would be happening if we did that. Can
you give us an example? Is there a company's vision that you know really well and you can sort of...
Oh yeah, I don't know if it's legit or not, but Henry Ford's vision, I saw it through a study that was done, and he had this vision right from the early days, which was, it's quite descriptive. It would be, every man of an okay or a decent wage would be able to afford and shift from the horse to the motor vehicle and drive through our beautiful green country, enjoying weekends pleasures with his family. It was like that, so he was basically saying in that vision that we're going to create a low-cost car that anyone can buy and put the horse to the side and really get out there and see our beautiful country with his or her family. Well, back then it was his masculine type piece, of course. But that was a really good one. And then also JFK's, of course, moonshot statements around, by the end of the decade, we'll put a man on the moon, not because it's easy, but because it's hard. So he was describing this culture of grit and determination that he was looking to build.
Yeah.
There's many others.
Yeah. So kind of using a really kind of visual language
Yes.
is important in setting your vision.
Yeah, and that applies to your, like, say on your maturity index, you've got one bit that we believe we need to be great at strategy and cultural deployment. Well, you'd want it to be excellence to be visual too, that you could read it and in your mind you could see what's going to be happening.
Right.
Yeah, so the same element, it's important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could almost get your marketing team to help you write it.
Yeah, well, marketing a great one to help. Or
someone really creative who already thinks in that visual
Yeah.
mode. Yeah.
I think the other factor is get your frontline employees to help.
Mm.
You know, because your frontline employees and some middle management, well, they're the ones that need to be able to read it and understand it and visualize it as much as the leadership.
Is this something that cascades down into their own language and their own visions, or it?
No, not the maturity index. It's normally a standard that you use so you can see where different teams are at comparatively. Mm-hmm. It's not like strategy and cultural deployment where that's all about making it relevant in their own language and making the measures relevant to them that connect to the higher level measures. And yeah, it's different to that.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to Pdca-Ing. It's a term that's thrown around a lot, the plan, do, check, act cycle. How does that sort of relate to defining your vision of excellence? Is that more part of the kind of practically applying it?
Yeah, it is. So it's again linking back to, like, traditionally we'd know it as an auditing and review approach. But I think the auditing word, especially from a lot of the ISO audits and things like that, has a bad name. Mm-hmm. You know, I'd more like the word like review or reflection or something like that, that we're actually getting out and running a process where teams are able to, and the company as a whole, you know, that macro view and away of the company, but go in more detailed into individual teams, and you can review, reflect and learn from it and then adapt.
From that's cycles of your planning.
Or even more tighter. You know, I see a lot of companies where they will have their strategic planning cycle, and, you know, that might be yearly and you've got whatever iteration of execution you've got going for that. Mm-hmm. But in relation to the maturity index, if I just talk that rubric that you're going, right, we've defined excellence, we've got the vision for it. Often what I see that can work well is that, you know, if you break the year into quarters, and that on the first quarter of the year, it may be an internal review and reflection that teams are just reviewing themselves and reflecting on where they're at and giving themselves a score. Mm-hmm. And they're using the past reviews to guide that. Yeah. And that can give them a baseline to sort of calibrate to. But then on the 6 monthly, it may be a quality team or an internal review team, or maybe the business improvement team, or someone who's really an expert in this operating system or this excellence model that comes in and does an independent review. Mm-hmm. Or it could be peers, team members from one team going to another team, and they're doing a review and then they're learning it. And then, you know, from that, they're then setting actions and work they're doing for the next quarter to bring themselves up to maturity. Mm-hmm. And then once a year, it may be an external party that comes in, you know, which I know that's a big part of what SA Partners does with organisations, where many of them, they'll play that external party to come in and do a review and reflect and learning and support and help the organisations then set a path for the time ahead.
Mm. And why do you think companies might need the external?
It's important to get calibration from multiple angles. You know,
think biases working?
Yeah, biases kick in, and it just gives you that different view. I think the book for this is really the book by Dr. Morgan Jones and Chris Butterworth, you know, Why Bother?
Have you got it?
Yeah, I've got it here. Like, really, in essence, to reading how to do this in a really detailed, way.
It's a
Why Bother?
New one just out.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep going to the wrong camera.
And the biggest topic in there is all around the calibration, I think, too. There's a lot of techniques, which in these short, sharp sessions we're doing right now, I won't go into.
Yeah.
But in essence, what you're doing is you're following the Pdca cycle. You know, you're doing some planning based on your excellence model and your strategy you're working on for the year. And this could be a team or from a whole company view. And you're going to then execute it, do it. And then you're going to do a review where you're going to come in a way, audit it or do a measurement system based on your maturity index, which is your check. And then you're going to act based on that.
Yeah.
And you're going to, from that, you're going to go back to planning, and you're going to plan and set targets for the next sequence of events that you want to, and you may only be targeting 1 or 2 elements, not the whole 14 elements if there's 14 or 7.
Makes sense to try and embed.
Yeah.
Just a couple at a time and let people really get the feel of them.
Yeah. And the way you gauge that is on what's going to help you the most move towards your vision and goals, meaningful goals.
Yes.
And then it becomes a thing that's actually helping a team, not something else, you know, that's being put on them. And I think that's important.
Yeah, cool. Well, just mentioning back to the book, Morgan Jones is going to be our first guest on our community.
First expert, yeah.
Yeah, our first expert. And I guess he's written a lot of books.
Many.
So there'll be possibly a lot of topics that he talks about, but this could be one that we could really delve into a little bit more with him.
Well, it's why I've got Morgan coming in first, and I could have had Chris too. Chris will come in at some stage, but it's because that community is geared to help people run PDCA and their excellence journey for years to come.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a 1 or 2 year thing. To truly become great, get up there with the John Deeres, the Toyotas, these organisations, you're talking 10 years at least. And so that's why I've got Morgan in first, because so much of this community is about, okay, so defining excellence, being able to create your vision for it, and then being able to do this review and reflection, this Pdca cycle, which we're going to use Scrum at Scale techniques to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the Why Bother book is critical to it. It might become pre-breeding for everyone. But yeah, so that's why Dr. Morgan Jones is coming in first up.
Yeah, so any of you looking to join the community, write down some questions you got off this little short, sharp episode and send them in to us, and we'll be collating questions from the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be asking Morgan in that first meeting.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting. Send them through.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. All right. So summarising, defining the vision of excellence in a really visual way, using lovely language that people can really lock into that story with, and setting some goals attached to that, and then setting your plan, do, check, act cycles in motion.
Yep.
To sort of achieve those little goals one by one.
Yeah, that's it. And it is a style of auditing process, but just check where that word is at in relation to your organisation. Because really the purpose is not to beat people up. The purpose is allow people to, reflect, learn, adapt.
Yeah.
And that way you'll keep the journey going.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Thanks, Emily.
Thanks. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Jeff Sutherland often talks about the scene in The Matrix where Morpheus offers Neo a red and a blue pill. The red pill to enter the Matrix, the blue pill to go back to sleep. It's one of Brad and my favourite movies, The Matrix. Such an eye-opener. Unfortunately, most organisations and people trained in Agile or Lean Six Sigma take the blue pill and go back to sleep after the training, back to the way things have always been. Dr. Sutherland and his team have set up the Agile Education Program and community to help more organisations and people take the red pill and enhance their organisation's culture of continuous improvement and innovation. Jeff himself sees a community as a key factor and has asked us to set up a similar community in the Asia Pacific region. We're thrilled that he asked us to, and our first community meeting is on the 28th of April at 7:30 a.m. Don't forget to enter our competition during the month of March to win a place on one of our Agile certified training courses. This could be either in our combined Product Owner and Scrum Master course or in the Agile Scrum at Scale course. Both are fab courses. We'll be drawing the winner at the end of March. All you have to do to enter is reach out to us. Find Brad on LinkedIn, email him or I on bjevons@iqi.com.au or myself, ejevons@iqi.com.au. Or you can also contact us on our website, theenterpriseexcellenceacademy.com. Just reach out. Good luck, everybody. We'll let the lucky winner know at the end of the month. Thanks again, everyone, and bye for now.